Hello. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I wonder, for those who are watching, if you would introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your organisation and the services offered, and maybe a little bit about your role within that organisation as well.
Thanks very much for inviting us here. My name is Julie O'Halloran. I'm the manager of the Millennium Family Resource Centre. We're based in Glengool, or New Birmingham, as it's also known, which is about 10 miles from Thurles in South Tipperary. We cover what's known as the whole Slivarda area of South Tipperary. So that takes in quite a few little towns and villages, so from Kilnall, Glengool, Gurtnahu, right down through Ballingarry, the Commons, Mullinahone, Drangan, Clooneen even, Moyglass, and that kind of whole sort of hinterland around that area. As a family resource centre, we come, and it's part of the Family Resource Centre programme, I suppose, which is supported by TUSLA. But we come with what we call a community development approach. So it's we have, I suppose, 4 main streams of area where we work. So that would be family support, which would be our core work. What we like to call nowadays, which is ageing in place, which is to work with older people and provide services for older people. We have a preschool childcare service on site, and we also have a Brothers of Charity service, which works with in the area of disability. So I suppose in terms of if we were to look at our family support area, this would be our core area of work. So we provide support for families in the area. We work very closely with schools, with social workers if there's a need for that. And we provide parent support and family support. So what that looks like, I suppose, is in essence, whatever needs are out there for families. So that could be a drop-in service for families. You know, somebody might be in a little bit of a crisis on a Monday morning. They're very welcome to drop in, get a little bit of advice. We work with parents one-to-one, where we would deliver programmes. We also work with groups, so we deliver group parenting programmes. Most of that is based around the Incredible Years parenting programme, which is a lovely programme, I have to say. It's a very practical programme, and it's very much about providing tips and strategies for parents to be able to manage behaviours with children. Outside of that then, when we're looking at, maybe we work very closely with the schools. So there is a national programme called a MEHL programme, and that's the old Irish name MEHL, which is where the community comes together to work together to support each other. And this has been adapted, I suppose, for family support. So it's a means of working with the family around the child, but also with other services. So it might be the schools, it might be social workers, it might be play therapists, you know. So what we do is we look at what are the issues and what are the strengths and needs of that child, and what are the issues that are arising. So it might be something like school refusal, there may be anxiety going on, some maybe behavioural stuff going on in school, and this is just an example, I suppose, of how it works. And we would all come together, look at, well, what's the best solution for this? Put an action plan in place, meet on a kind of regular enough basis, and then, you know, the outcome is always positive for the child. Very much a voluntary process for the family and for the child and for any other services involved. But very positive outcomes, and I think that's the key area that we like to focus on. Yeah. I suppose it's important to mention that with family resource centres, we're very much around early intervention and prevention. And that's where the likes of the family support programmes are very much getting in there before something escalates into a bigger issue. Yeah. The wider kind of supports around family can be around maybe programmes for children. So say in the past we've run creative mindfulness for children. That's very much, it's a lovely soft approach to help children with maybe, I don't like to say mental health issues, but around anxiety and feelings, which is a big part of it. It can be seen as a step down programme from our play therapy. We provide a play therapy service for children as well, and that's again supported through TUSLA grant that we get, and that makes it affordable for all families across the board in our area. With the play therapy, I suppose the referrals tend to come from parents, self-referral primarily, because they're very aware of the service that we have. The schools, the GPs, social workers, if need be, public health nurses, and so on. Okay. So they're all very aware, I suppose, within our area of this service. Play therapy it's a lovely, gentle approach. It's a non-directive therapy, or a therapeutic intervention, which is what we'd call it. And it's very much the child directs it, you know, so the child, and I'd love to be able to show you the room that we have, because it's absolutely, even adults love that. So it's very much around the child will pick on something that stands out for them. They'll play with that. They can do artwork if they want. They can do sandbox, water. You know, it's right across the board, and very much about a safe space for them, and they love to come to it, and to help them to deal with feelings, you know. So we also provide a youth counselling service, and this has been a new initiative for us in the last couple of years. We work very closely with the Feathered Killenaw Youth Project. They have a base in Killenaw, and that project has really grown in the last couple of years. We actually, in 2021, we were finalists in the National Lottery Good Causes Awards for that project, which was brilliant, and a great way of really showcasing, I suppose, the effort that we have put in, I suppose, in conjunction with the youth project. But also, again, we go back to the schools and the public health nurses, the GPs locally. They're all so supportive and understand the work that we do, and are constantly referring people into it. So again, another early intervention, prevention piece, or a supported piece in conjunction with other services such as CAMS, which is the Child and Adolescent Mental Health Services. So that's, again, like I say, another piece that we provide in-house. Again, as part of family support, we offer adult counselling, again, affordable adult counselling service, and then softer kind of programmes, as we like to call them. So we've done quite a bit over the years in terms of, you know, mindfulness programs. Maybe it's a yoga program, maybe it's a one-off event that we might do a workshop, and so on. And you know, again, that's very much driven by the need that's out there, and participants would let us know what it is that they'd like for us to run for them. The wider then family support stuff, I suppose we have parent and toddler group in-house, we've breastfeeding support group, you know, a lot of anything that we see in terms of it being a need, anything that can support a parent and a family, we try to provide as best we can in our own centre. And we're very much a hub, I suppose, for the wider Slieve Garda area. But we also try to get out to other centres and provide other supports in other centres. So, for example, maybe some community education programmes. And again, they can be anything from yoga to art at the moment. And I suppose the beauty of community education, it's very much about social inclusion, people get together, doing something that's fun, something that they're interested in as well. It's not accredited, so it's you know, a bit more relaxed. And I suppose a good example in terms of the recent COVID challenges that we've had. We have a fantastic art teacher was working with a group, and COVID closed down happened, and then she was able to film herself with doing particular techniques for each week, and put it on YouTube and give us the link, and we were able to pass it on to the participants, which was the best way to manage it, because in terms of internet coverage, sadly, in rural areas, which is an issue for a lot of people, we couldn't have done that via Zoom. So that worked out really, really well. So I suppose in terms of our other services, then we would look at, we have our preschool childcare service, a small service. We have, again, it's under the National Childcare Scheme and also under ECCE. Which is the free 2 years for the preschoolers. And so that's a lovely little group. And again, you know, they're constantly doing activities and playing and having fun, as well as sort of learning, and all that socialisation is so good for small children as well. And then again, our disability service, which is the Brothers of Charity. So again, that's a fantastic service for local families, for adults with intellectual disability who don't have to travel too far. They're bussed in every day, and again, they have their own, I suppose, set of activities and supports and educational pieces that their own staff would look after. But they also would integrate, I suppose prior to COVID, not so much now, but integrate into the rest of our services and would volunteer in different aspects, maybe the childcare or the kitchen or that. And then, of course, and I know you have spoken to my colleague Mary McMahon in terms of the ageing in place services that we have. So that's the Meals on Wheels and our community laundry and other supports and information supports in our Wednesday group, social group in the centre.
Yeah, no, it sounds absolutely fabulous. That's such a range of services. I suppose the thing that I'm hearing is the open door policy. Come to us.
Absolutely.
We can signpost you to other organisations, or maybe other organisations signpost you to us. Yeah. Love the piece about with the children. If I go with the children, that the positive approach, the early intervention, and the support. What I heard when you were describing that was it's support for the child, for their parents and maybe other siblings, and maybe educating them also and maybe educating is too strong a word, but showing them other ways to deal with it so that they're not as frustrated either, that they feel, yes, what I'm doing is helping and supporting. And it sounds like it goes out to the schools as well then, that there's quite a tier of knock-on effect, which is so positive. It's fabulous.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the key to it, and very much how we all operate now when we're working with children and families is around children first and the child's voice being heard, and that's the key to what we try to do, and support and work with other agencies, and work closely with TUSLA as well. And and I suppose for some families TUSLA can sound like a little bit intimidating, but it's not, because they have their child protection, but they also have their whole area around family support, and that's where we come in with all of that.
And the fact that parents can come in for, say, maybe even coffee and a chat with other parents as part of a parenting programme, but it sounds like a parenting support, which is fantastic.
Absolutely.
And as you say, particularly when we can live in the countryside, we need that support.
Yeah, and that isolation shouldn't be underestimated, because you could live in the middle of any town or village and feel quite isolated, you know. So I suppose what we try to do is bring together people who are a community of interest, I suppose, and there's nothing more isolating than when you have a small baby crying all day, and that can be very challenging,
and you can feel a failure as a parent.
Oh, look, and just getting outside of your house and those four walls, which can be very enclosing. So it's really important to be able to access.
I suppose one thing that comes to mind is, again, if I'm thinking of when people come to you, or the school approach you, or as you say, maybe a public health nurse, or that confidentiality is massive.
Absolutely key, and I suppose. It's a really good point, because a lot of families maybe don't know what it is we do. But that's okay, because I'm a great believer in, when you need a service, you'll know and you'll access it. So I suppose outwardly a lot of the work we do is more around the social stuff, because that's the sort of visible stuff. But there's a huge amount that goes on in the background. Which is a huge amount of support, I suppose, for children and families.
Which is it's good for them to just know that that's there.
So also as part of our services, we have a men's shed group on site, and they have their own shed at the bottom of the garden, and they've been fantastic in terms of supporting us around maybe building things for us. So for example, bird boxes, benches, window boxes, that type of thing. And they're also becoming more involved. We have a new community garden project, which we will be working on this year. And again, it's about sort of inviting people in to take part as again, a kind of health well-being piece, which is lovely. And it's been proven, I suppose, that horticulture has its own therapeutic values. So we have a nice little group of volunteers as well who are taking part in that. And we've already started sowing spring bulbs and so on. So we're hoping that this year, we'll start now, and we will have a very vibrant kind of community garden club or a garden club, or whatever it's going to look like. And again, very much driven by the group themselves and what it is they'd like to get out out of that. But again, for our men's shed, they're very much part of linking in and out with lots of different pieces that we do in the centre.
And just thinking of the men's shed, is there an age group, or can you be literally any age?
Any age, and I suppose the beauty of the whole men's shed project is that it is open to everyone. It's and the whole ethos behind it is around that men will talk shoulder to shoulder rather than face to face. So when they're working away together on something, they might sort of chat about something that might be around health issues or so on. And again, they link into some of our other services if they want to. They don't have to, but they're very much an independent group as well, I like to think. And they've been brilliant. They've been brilliant. Key piece of really what it is we're doing there. And again, open to new members all the time. Anyone who's interested, just again, contact us.
I suppose for anybody watching and they say, gosh, I'd love to know a bit more, or will I, won't I? Because you mentioned yoga and the community education, which is just, it's a lovely open space as well. What would be the tip or advice you'd give to anybody watching?
Well, anyone who's interested, or if there's anything that has tweaked their interest, they can contact us. Our telephone number is 052 9157 992. My own email is julie@mfrc.ie. Our website address is www.mfrc.ie. And our Facebook page, so Millennium Family Resource Centre. So if we're running anything, so we might have a little course starting, or again, just every so often we'll give sort of an update on our services. So we will post that on Facebook. So follow us on Facebook, and that's just a good way, I suppose, of knowing what's coming up. But just give us a ring and to look for me as family support lead, and I can just have the chat in confidence with anyone who's looking for a little bit of information.
That sounds absolutely fantastic. And just actually, when I think of it also, if they want to do some of the other courses, like a yoga or like art, is it you also they contact, or do they just ring the centre?
They can ring the centre, and they can contact me directly if they want. They can ring the centre, and they will be signposted and directed to whoever is looking after that particular one at the time. And generally, I suppose we do tend to put the contact on our Facebook posts.
Perfect.
And so on.
Okay.
All right.
That's absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's amazing the work you do.
Thank you very much.